Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to tutorial with Cikgu Fadzli. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create automated test script using Selenium IDE. We are going to do the tutorial in 3 steps. Step 1, we are going to install the Selenium IDE extension in the browser. In this case, I'm going to show you how to install it in Google Chrome. And then step 2, we are going to record test case, a simple test case to create automated test script. And in step 3, we are going to run the automated test case and get the results. First, in order for us to install the Selenium IDE extension, we have to go to the Chrome Web Store. And then we're going to search for Selenium IDE, and then we have the Selenium IDE as the top result here, so we're going to go for it, and then we're going to add to Chrome and add extension. So it's going to take about a couple of seconds, right? And it's finished now. So now we're finished with installation of Selenium IDE extension. Next, we're going to record the test case. So to record a test case, first we have to open the Selenium IDE extension here. Okay, so this is the Selenium IDE. We are going to record a new test in a new project, of course, right? So we are going to give a project name, my first test script. Okay, and then for this exercise, I'm going to use a simple login module to test the username and password login. So this is the URL, and I'm going to put it here. So the URL that we put it here as the base URL is going to be the first page that the Selenium will open before we start doing things in our testing. Okay, so now we can click on start recording, and the Selenium will open the URL, the base URL that we entered before. So this is the login module that I want to test. So we are going to insert the username. So the correct username for this login is Adam, and the correct password or kata laluan is Adam123, and then we are going to click login. Okay, after we click login, now it is recording. So we can see at the bottom right corner here, Selenium IDE is recording. So we know that currently it is recording everything that we do on this web page. Now that we have successfully logged in into the module, we are getting the congratulations, your login successful tags notification. So this is actually the expected result of a successful login. So we want to get these tags as an indicator that we are able to use the username and password to log in into the system. So we are going to highlight these tags, right click on it, and then we are going to have this Selenium IDE submenu from the right click menu, and we are going to use assert meaning that we are going to compare the tags whether we are getting what we expected or not. So we are going to assert tags for this particular case. So we are going to assert tags. Okay, and that's it. That's all for the testing, because I'm just going to show you a very simple module to test. So the test is completed now. We are going to stop the recording. Okay, in order to stop the recording, go back to the Selenium here, IDE, and then we are going to click the stop recording button. And then we're going to give the test name. So I'm going to give test name T01, correct username and password. Okay, and then click OK. So now here we can see this is the script that we had recorded from our exercise before. Here we open the here we open the base URL, and then we open the windows to the maximum size, and then we click username text box, and then we type in Adam here, Adam, inside the username text box, and then we click the password text box, and then we enter Adam123 inside the password text box, and then we click on the submit button, and then we click on the status. So actually we don't have to click on the status. I accidentally clicked the status while I'm explaining to you earlier, so we are going to remove this, delete. Alright, and then we assert tags. Okay, so we're going to check whether we are getting the status ID and the text is congratulations. So congratulations, if we get the status ID and the text is congratulations, meaning that we are getting the expected result from our test case. So what are these ID and where are these ID came from? So we can go back to the page. For instance, this is what Selenium recorded as ID equals to status. So if we look at it, we can look at the inspect panel to see the source code. So this is the word congratulations here, and it is inside a H2 element in HTML, and this H2 element got an ID status. So this is how Selenium going to find the congratulations tags, by looking for the ID status. The same goes to our username before. So according to our Selenium script, the username have ID username. So if we right click here, go to the inspect, we're going to see this is the input text box, and the ID is username. So Selenium identify all the elements in the web page using the ID of every HTML element inside the web page. Okay, if we go back to the script, so they target using the ID of the HTML element. So now we have finished. This is our script, total of 8 steps. So these are all the steps in our correct username and password test case. So this is the automated script for test case 01, correct username and password. Okay, so we are finished with recording our test case. Now we want to run the automated test case. So how to run it? So now we have one test case. If we want to add another, we can add new test here. If we want to duplicate this test case, we can click duplicate here. But before that, we want to run the test case. So we can either run all tests. If we have a lot of test cases, if we click run all tests, it will run all the test cases that we have here. But because we only have one test case, if we only click run current test is enough. Yeah. So when we click it, what Selenium will do is Selenium will repeat all these things, all the steps automatically, and at the end it will check whether they get the assert tags or not, whether they get the status or not. In this case, all are green because we got a successful test case, meaning that when we use a correct username and password, the system does successfully log in with indication of the text congratulations. Let's say we want to create another test case that is similar to this. We want to log in using other username and password. So we can only duplicate the test case, and then let's say we also want to use a correct username and password. Okay, so we rename it as test case number 2, but still correct username and password. So let's say, for example, we have another correct username and password that we want to test. It's not Adam. So let's say it is now if, and the password is if123. So let's say, just for example, that if and if123 is a of username and password that are correct, that we should get a status of congratulations, meaning that we should be able to log in using this username and password. But in this case, actually, if and if123 does not exist. So when we test this test case, it's not going to be successfully logged in, so the test case will fail. So let's see how a test case can fail in Selenium IDE. So we click on all tests, and then Selenium will repeat the process with the first test case using Adam 1, 2, 3, and click login, and then you get congratulations, and then we'll repeat for another test case using if and if123, and now it does not get the congratulation status. So now the test case become red, the assert text become red, because it does not get the congratulation that is expected, and this test case is failed. One successful test case and one failed test case. Okay, so that's all for our tutorial today. We have finished installing Selenium IDE extension in browser, and we have finished recording our test case, and we also finished run the automated test case and see the result. Okay, so that's all for my simple tutorial today. Hopefully you understand how to use Selenium IDE, and yeah, all the best.